welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my Asexualized. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as we go along if you're enjoying the content. If you didn't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this wonderful book, Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, a celebration of asexual diversity. I'm also the founder of asexualise.com and the founder of Asexualise Academy. And if you didn't know, July is a month of Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month. Yes, it was started a couple of years ago by me when I launched my Asexual Perspectives book. And it's basically to celebrate our diversity across the spectrum, across the asexual spectrum, and our differences within it. And each day of July, I pick a topic out of my book and we discuss it live on this channel. And when I first started out, I wasn't doing live streams, but now I am. So we're here to discuss it. And today's topic is, what would your ideal asexual relationship look like? So this is something I basically ask in my Asexual Perspectives book to 47 asexuals. I put, if you're not in a relationship, would you like to be in one? And if so, why? And what type of relationship? Romantic, platonic? What would your ideal relationship look like? And would you be in a relationship with a sexual person or not? And the reason why? So I'm going to read you out a few of the answers now from my Asexual Perspectives book. If you haven't already got a copy, don't forget to get one down in the links below. And let's read Nikki's story. So this is Nikki's story on what their ideal asexual relationship would look like. So I would say that while I'm open to the idea, I do not want to be in a relationship right now. It's not necessarily about sexual identity. Just too much going on in grad school. I'm honestly not sure what my ideal relationship would look like. I would want to be very comfortable. I really love the idea of being with someone who makes me feel more powerful and confident in myself, and whom I could support the same way. And I think this is a really good point of a healthy, happy, loving relationship. The person you're with should be making you feel as comfortable, as confident as possible, and should be raising you up. You know, they should be making you feel good about yourself, making you feel jolly and happy. I mean, it's not their responsibility for your happiness per se, you know, in your entire life. But while they're in a relationship with you, they should be making you feel good about yourself, not the opposite. They should be making you feel that you're able to grow in the relationship, and as an individual they should be praising you, they should be supporting you, encouraging you, you know, and that's some of the traits of a healthy relationship. I'll carry on with Nikki's story. People in really long-term relationships who really know their partner and are past the fancy dates and into hanging out, playing video games with beer, those are the people I could get jealous of. Maybe it sounds crazy, but anytime I find myself thinking about a relationship, it is always the very mundane of everyday / comfortable parts of a relationship that draw me in. And to be honest, for a sustainable... Oh, hi, Martin. Lovely to see you. Thank you. And for a sustainable, loving relationship, I totally agree with Nikki. You know, you have to find... even delight in the more mundane things that you do together, the everyday things in a relationship. Because if you can't get excited about spending time and just hanging out together, then really you're not with the right person. But I'll continue Nikki's story. So I'm a bit busy at the moment, so I might miss bits of the live stream, but I'll be done in a moment. Okay, Martin, I'll carry on talking. So I do think, this is Nikki's story, by the way. This is the third paragraph of her ideal asexual relationship. I do think asexuality stops me from pursuing a relationship a little bit. Often with my age group, people have one thing on their mind with dating. Sorry for the overt generalization, but it has often proven true. I guess I'm afraid of having to explain what I want from a relationship, and facing what I often see as the inevitable rejection of that from the other person. I consider myself sex positive, and while I have no interest in it, I have not 100% closed myself off to the idea of having sex. I think I could be in a relationship with a sexual person if we had enough communication and respect. If they were respectful of my boundaries and goals for the relationship, and I respected their needs, I believe it could work. It would be a lot of effort to keep up the communication. And I do agree that if you are going to be in a relationship, especially with someone who's a different sexual orientation than you, then you have to constantly have communication, in order to make it work, in order to be sustainable and healthy. I mean, you've got to have that with any person. If the person stops talking to you, or they're sharing secrets with you 1 minute and then closed off the next, or they're hiding things from you or keeping secrets from you, they're not prioritizing you in their life and they're not being open and honest, then the relationship's not going to be a healthy one. It's not going to be healthy at all. So you need to make sure you find the right person for you, and communication is essential in whatever sexual orientation relationship you have, whether that's asexuality or if you're with where you're with another asexual or a sexual. I have to say, even in an asexual to asexual relationship, loads of people can have different needs, and the way asexuals tend to love is through an emotional connection. And a lot of the time, an emotional connection is got through seeing the person, observing their body language, their behavior, seeing their eyes, seeing how they react, and also through messaging, communication, texting. The emotional connection is kind of like, constant communication. I believe an emotional connection and communication go hand in hand. To have a healthy emotional connection, you have to be persistent and consistent in your communication and actions, and your actions should follow through with your words. If you're inconsistent, if you're hiding, if you're not willing to share your deepest, most secrets and fears and thoughts with the one person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, presumably you do that if you want a serious, committed relationship, then it's going to be no go if you don't want to do that, So do bear that in mind. Okay, so this is Victoria's story, what their ideal relationship would look like. At the moment, I'm fairly neutral on the topic. I don't need to be in a romantic relationship to be happy, nor do I have the desire to actively seek one out. Even if I have romantic feelings for someone, I don't necessarily want to be in a relationship with them. However, I am not against being in a romantic relationship with someone. Given the right circumstances and personal persons, I'd be inclined to try one. Ideally, this person would be asexual, but I'd also try a romantic relationship with a sexual person. A sexual person can't help being sexual any more than I can help being asexual. So excluding someone based on their sexuality would seem unfair to me. I definitely would try it. This would probably result in an open/polyamorous relationship, as this would be the best way to meet our individual needs. Now, obviously, if you're polyamorous, you're someone who can be in a relationship with multiple people. I cannot be in a relationship with more than one person. I am fiercely, fiercely monogamous. It's the way I've always been and the way that works best for me. I think it's hard enough devoting time, energy, and being intentional with the one significant other and really plowing all your energy and time and effort into, being with each other and the one person, that if my time was split between multiple people and then me, I don't personally see how it would be good. I don't like that idea, but other people do. Martin, that's a good quote. The one about them not being able to help being sexual, like we can't help being asexual. Yeah, I do think that's good, actually, Martin. I agree with that. A sexual person can't help being sexual any more than I can help being asexual. I do think that it's important to remember that, because, they can't. However, that doesn't mean to say it's necessarily going to work, an asexual and sexual relationship. If the asexual definitely doesn't want sex and the sexual person definitely does, it's never going to work, is it? Unless if you're monogamous. If you're polyamorous, like this person says, fair enough. I can personally be polyamorous. If someone's with me, they're with me. I'm not into sharing that person in a relationship with someone else. Yes, they can have different friends, but I'm not into doing that. You know, I want commitment from that person. Just because I'm asexual doesn't mean to say I don't deserve the same monogamous commitment as a person who's sexual. So that's also my quote, you know. So yeah, I mean, sexuals, a lot of the sexuals that are attracted to me are highly sexual, right? They need sex all the time, and I just thought that's something I can't do. I'm not interested in sex. I did it in the past because I just thought I was meant to be doing that. So yeah, I don't want to do that again. But it is important to remember that sexuals by nature are sexuals, you know. It's the way they're made up. And you know, some sexuals, they can't live without sex and be happy. You know, it's a fundamental part of their being, just like it's a part of my being to not want sex, to not be interested in it, to not be bothered about it, and to really want a person who just wants to kiss me. Like, I love kissing as much as someone who's really highly sexual loves sex. I love kissing that much. I don't love sex. I don't like sex at all. But the kissing, I don't want to be in a relationship without being kissed a lot, because I would feel like my physical needs are not taken care of in the relationship, and I wouldn't be happy, even though I do want a person, you know, who's kind and caring. The physical kissing for me is super important to me. So in that respect, I do understand why some sexuals who really love sex need sex in a relationship. But then it's up to the people at the beginning to, you know, talk about this and decide they're probably not right for each other. The problems come when basically an asexual person, through no fault of their own, doesn't realise they're asexual, and they get into a relationship with a sexual, and then obviously they don't want sex anymore. It's not comfortable. They realise they don't need to have it because there's other asexuals, and it just kind of like a lot of the asexuals, they just can't do it anymore. You know, they don't want it. They're not interested in it. They've just like put up with it. You know, you know, I'm not saying everyone's like this, but I'm saying, you know, this is when, you know, if difficulties crop up between an asexual and sexual, it's often when they're already in a relationship and one person doesn't know the other person is asexual. They don't know themselves they are. And so this is when it's difficult, because they have to talk about it constantly and work around it and try and work things out. But it's, you know, if a sexual really wants sex, but they're married to the asexual, you know, they have to basically, the only alternative outside of being polyamorous, you know, sharing and having sex elsewhere, is to please themselves physically through masturbation, through vibrators and sex toys. If their partner can't have sex with them, obviously they could try other sexual acts like oral sex if their asexual partner wanted to do that, and mutual masturbation and all that lot. But you know, if that's an asexual doesn't even want to do that, then, which is fair enough, it's just going to be difficult, isn't it? It's a very difficult situation. So I think it's really important that you be honest with any person you get into a relationship with, especially if they're sexual as well, and be upfront and tell them about your asexuality and what it means. And it's up to them to make an informed choice and decision. You know, they deserve as much honesty as we do, you know. And it might be difficult because you might want to hide your asexuality, but it's not fair on them. You know, just because they're sexual doesn't mean to say you have to be unfair to them by not telling them about your asexuality. You know, what is unfair if a sexual gets into a relationship with an asexual person and thinks they're going to change the asexual person and thinks they're going to manipulate them and change them into sex? That's unfair of the sexual person. You know, that's their bad. But if you aren't in a relationship, you want to get with a sexual person, you don't tell them up front, that's not fair to them. So both people have to be fair to each other in order to even get a good foundation for a relationship in the first place, you know. So basically, Zoe's story. What does Zoe's ideal relationship look like? I would like to be in a relationship, even though I've been solo for years and like my own company. I do get quite lonely sometimes. Now, I think this is a really interesting point. You can be single for a lot of years and enjoy your own company, but you may still want to be with someone in the end, you know? My ideal partner would be my best friend. Mine too. A confident companion love of my life, soulmate, and absolutely asexual. I mean, I really relate to Zoe's story in this. That's what I want, a best friend, a confidant. I said confident, I meant confidant. Confident, you know, someone you can confide in other words. um Companion, love of my life, soulmate, and absolutely asexual. I mean, that is what I would love. Never again will I have a relationship with a sexual. Never again will I be in a situation where I am coerced to have sex in order to keep a relationship. Now, this is a really good point, because you've just heard someone's story who's open to being polyamorous, saying they give a relationship a try with a sexual, and then you've got the complete contrast of someone who definitely never wants to be with a sexual partner ever again. Like me, my partner will want and need the same type of affection as I do. See my answer to the third question for more details of affection. So what does the person say on their third answer? Oh, this is interesting. I didn't expect to go through the book. So Zoe's answer. Oh, right. Okay. Zoe's to the third question. How do you identify yourself as asexual? These labels are still so new to me that I find it difficult to categorize correctly. I'm an asexual who doesn't like or want sex, but who needs human affection. Hugs, an arm around my waist, holding hands, cuddling. As for kissing, a kiss on the cheek and the lips is okay, but I don't need French kissing. Opposite to me, because I do need the French kissing as well. But opposite to me on that one thing. So yeah, so basically, my ideal partner, this is Zoe's stories again, would also be an introvert like me. This is important because I need someone who understands when and why I need a break from peopling. My last relationship was with an extrovert, and we had many arguments about my being antisocial. My ideal partner will also be understanding about mental health issues and will know to give me time and space when I am in one of my down cycles in my bipolar depression, and I will gladly return the favour if needed. So I think this is really important. There are a lot of asexuals in the asexual community who do have mental health problems. And I think if you're getting into a relationship with someone who's got mental health problems, you have to ask yourself how that's going to affect them being in a relationship with someone. If they're finding it hard with their own mental health and to look after themselves, are they ready to be in a relationship with someone else? Because some people with mental health difficulties aren't actually ready to be in a relationship with someone else. They find it hard enough to cope with themselves. They can't take care of another person in the relationship because they can barely look after themselves. In order to have a good, long-lasting, healthy, loving relationship, you have to be able to look after yourself a bit. I'm not saying this as just something of pie in the sky. I have someone I know who, you know, is like this, by their own admission. You know, there are other people I know who have mental health problems who are fine to be in a relationship. They know what they want out of life. They're still very strong in other aspects, you know. They can, you know, they've been in relationships before. You know, they're fine. So it all depends on the person's own mental health. And if two people have got mental health problems, it depends where you lift each other up, you help each other. I know two asexuals that are in a relationship together. They've both got a similar type of problem, issue, and they help each other out. So, you know, it can be a very healthy, happy, encouraging relationship, very supportive, or it could be, you know, like detrimental to the other person, depending on what the different types of mental health are. Do you know what I mean? So you gotta like talk about your mental health issues before you actually get into a relationship with each other. You know, so I think that's really, really important. And you know, I'm an extrovert, but I do have some introvert tendencies where I tend to spend a lot of time on my own at my computer and stuff like that. So I'm extrovert by nature in general, but I'm also got my quiet times as well. So just because I'm extrovert doesn't mean to say I would just consider being with an extrovert, you know. I would consider being with an introvert if they were still into going out some of the time with me. You know, maybe it's just on a day trip with me and them. You know, they don't have to be the wild party animal that I am. Do you know what I mean? So if they're a person who never wanted to go out, that wouldn't suit me because I need to go out. Do you know what I mean? And I also love living in the city. If they were a person that wanted to live out in the countryside, I've lived in the countryside. I hated living in the countryside. It didn't suit my personality. I felt very isolated, shut off, and everything like that. So it was interesting because I was talking to one of my asexual friends tonight. We're having a catch up, and I was talking about ideal type of relationship. And they were asking me about, about things. So I basically told them what, I said they were talking about I was talking about, have you met how is it going with your girlfriend? Because he met her through ASAP, and he said, oh, basically they split up. She split up with him a long time ago. And he was asking me about boyfriend. I said, I don't have one at the moment. The last guy I was with was British. It didn't last very long. I had a lucky escape there. And basically, yeah, I don't, he wasn't asexual as far as I know, put it that way. And so, yeah. And so we were talking about, about what makes a strong person, because I say I haven't found someone who's strong enough for me yet. And this is totally true. So, some people are like, well, what makes a strong person for a relationship, right? And obviously I'm attracted to guys only. I'm heteromantic, right? And so I said about I said about what a strong guy is. So I'm going to read it out to you, just what I've said, I'm not going to give our old conversation away because that's not fair on the person or who I'm talking to. But I'm going to say just my point of view. And I think it's really important to hear it because some people don't understand or don't have knowledge of what the type of good quality person they want. And these traits, could be applied to a female as well, not just a male or any gender. But I'm talking about specifically to male. In some of the things I talk about, it's generally more a guy that may be a bit more like this by society's expectations standards. But as we know, asexuality, we kind of break gender conformities as well, don't we? I mean, females can do stuff guys do more, guys can do stuff females do more. We can be more feminine or masculine, I think, and we can accept that about each other. But in traditional dating, it's not really like that. So, but for me, a strong guy looks like this. So I'm just going to read it out on my phone at the moment. So, a strong guy knows exactly what he wants in life. So this is the type of guy I'm saying I want. A strong guy knows exactly what he wants in his life and his ideal relationship. He is consistent in both his actions and words and persistent. He knows a high value woman, when he sees one, is not afraid to be very open, honest, and vulnerable with her. He has no secrets from her. He makes her a priority in his life. He is not about pleasing everyone, but about being his true, authentic self. And at the same time, will work hard to make the woman happy and to maintain and sustain a loving, healthy, and happy relationship. He will know a relationship is a full-time job for life and not be scared of commitment, but rather be thankful for it, that he hit the jackpot and wants to nurture, care for, and protect his woman whilst letting her grow as an individual and as a couple. He will have good boundaries in place. Including with other people outside of the relationship, and not come from a place of insecurity and ego. He will be a soulmate and best friend to his woman for life. He will see her in his future and want her by his side forever, as he values her so much and cannot see his life without her in it. He will not mess her around, and she will always know where she stands with him. I haven't met this type of asexual guy yet. The only guy I've met who's like that is one of my best friend who's homo-romantic. He has a lot of those traits, but he's into guys. Obviously, I'm not a guy, I'm female. So I haven't met any asexual guys that are into women that are like this. I haven't met one of them yet. None of them. It gives me hope that my asexual best guy friend who's into guys has lots of these traits, so at least I know there's that type of guy out there. But I haven't found this guy yet. A lot of guys just aren't strong enough. I'm not saying it to say it is, just for guys. A lot of women don't know what they want either. They'll faff around not knowing what they want, fluttering from one guy to the next, or just not taking any action. They haven't, decided what they want to do with their life. They haven't decided the type of guy they want. They're going, they're just meandering along. They might not have thought about commitment and stuff like this. I'm not just saying it's guys, but in my experience, there's a very much lack of this strong type of guy who knows exactly what he wants. I think it's quite predominant in the asexual community on asexualitic, for example. There are a lot of people on asexualitic.com, which is a dating site, where a lot of them just don't know exactly what they want and they're very wishy-washy about it. And some people are like, oh, you're very specific, Sandra. Well, of course I'm specific. If you're not specific about what you want, you won't know it when it turns up in your life. And then you could miss out that opportunity. And you also won't have any sort of you won't have any sort of boundaries. You won't have any sort of like guidelines of what your best person for you would be like, and you end up getting rubbish. Unfortunately, even though that is the type of guy I want, I tend to attract the opposite of that. And I think that's because maybe like I wasn't so sure about, I knew the type of person I wanted, but I wasn't so sure about his character traits. For a long time, I couldn't pin it down. So me being able to pin that down exactly to one of my friends who messaged me tonight was really good for me to do that in a message, because it's what I want, And unfortunately, I'm a really caring person. I'm really sensitive. I'm really kind. I'm not saying I'm an angel or anything like that. I'm just saying in general, that's how I see myself. And I'm not perfect though. And I can always improve. But, so, I can tend to be really kind, caring to guys who are not so strong. And as a friend, that's fine, isn't it? But in terms of a relationship, it's no good, because if a guy doesn't know what he wants in terms of relationship, he's going to be all over the place. And I'm not going to be able to trust him within that relationship, because in order to trust a person in a relationship, you've got to be open, honest, have communication, no secrets, make each other like your priority, make it a priority to like continue the relationship in a healthy, happy, loving way. Don't get your partner and think, oh, I've got them now. The hardest thing in a relationship is not getting into one. It's maintaining and sustaining it in a loving, happy, healthy, nurturing way. That's what the problem is. It's easy to get into a relationship and out again. That's why there's so many problems with the online dating scene. People are in and out of relationships just like that. They're like, oh, that person's not suitable for me. That person's not suitable for me. But if you're looking for a strong person won't want loads of people to be in a relationship with. They will be a lot more specific about the type of person they want to be in a relationship with. And they might have 20, 30 people banging on their door, and they'll be like, no, maybe one of them's okay, but I'll have to get to know them better first. Do you see the difference? I don't want to be with a guy who is interested in 40 different women. I want to be with a guy who's says, this is the type of woman I want. I know they're rare to get. I might come across I don't know, a few who is going to live up to these quality character traits I want, and quality, like morals, values, beliefs, and that type of thing. And so it's really important that you do narrow down exactly what you want in a relationship. I know so many people that they'll get into a relationship and they don't even know what the heck they want. And then the relationship will just suffer immediately, because they also sometimes say, oh, they're okay with something. And then when they get into a relationship, they're blatantly not, and they haven't really thought it through. So it's really important that you be very, very specific. You can be flexible on certain things, but you should always have a really strong idea of what you want. In the book, I do talk about my ideal type of relationship, which was be with an Indian guy in the UK, though, without marriage, without kids, without sex, living with the guy living near me, and he would need to have all those other character traits that I just expressed. But, you know, for me, I don't like housework, cooking, cleaning. I'm not of that culture that traditionally Indian men expect their women to be a housewife type of person. I'm not that either. So, you know, if I found a guy that had all the as many of the character traits as I want, because I don't want, you know, I can't get the perfect guy, and he wasn't Indian, it would still be good for me to consider being in a relationship with him because he had all the other character traits. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like I said, I do need kissing relationship. It's no good me not being with someone who doesn't want kissing like me, because I would just feel like I was pushing, you know, like you know, I like you know, I would feel that I was like mouth raping them if I was kissing them. They didn't want to be kissed like that, and I'd feel rejected myself if they didn't want kissing as much as me, and I would feel like uncomfortable doing it. I don't want to kiss someone if they don't want to kiss me. That would be like just like horrible for them and horrible for me. So it's really important that you get compatibility in as many areas as you can within the relationship. You know, it's really important. And, you know, I would like to be with a foreign guy overall, because I just think that, you know, coloured skin, for example, is very aesthetically beautiful to me. However, I did try a relationship with a British guy, young guy, and you know, it just didn't work out because he wasn't the right type of person for me. You know, clearly he wasn't asexual, and there were other issues going on as well. And that meant I needed to get out of the relationship quickly. So it's just like, you know, that experience still taught me, though, that it's possible I could be with a younger British guy and I could be happy if things would turn out differently. So, you know, it doesn't have to be a foreign guy if they've got all the other character traits and personality traits that I'm ideally looking for. I need someone who can be strong, sustainable, keep their word, know what they want, be honest at all times, you know, and not up and down in the relationship. You know, there's no good if someone's up and down and not stable themselves. How can they be stable in a relationship? You know, it's really important that you get the right person for you. And if I need to be single for the rest of my life, I need to be single for the rest of my life. I don't think I will be single forever. I think I will meet the right asexual guy eventually, but I think it's going to take a long time to do that. So, you know, before you get into a relationship, it's really important that you find out exactly what you want in a relationship as much as possible. Find out your needs, find out your wants, find out your desires, and really paint a picture of the ideal type of person you want to be with. You're not necessarily going to get that specific person, but you can get as close to it as possible. You know, one of my friends, my old friends who wasn't asexual at all, you know, she got this guy come into her life who had all the character traits she wanted, apart from he was Indian, and she didn't think of herself being with an Indian guy. But because he had everything else she was looking for, she accepted he was Indian, you know? Sod's law, isn't it? Sod's law means, yeah, typical. She got an Indian guy when I was looking for one for a long time. So, you know, but I was happy for her because he made her really happy, and that's what's important, you know. You're never going to get the perfect 100% person, but you have to have a framework to work from. So if you kind of have your ideal person, then you'll know more when they show up. They'll be like a beacon of light. It'll be like, I'm here, you know, and they'll stand out from most other people that you come across because they'll be more tailor-made to what you're looking for. So, you know, make sure that you know as an asexual person what your ideal asexual type of relationship would look like in terms of, you know, like hobbies and interests you might like to do together. You know, like the physical aspects, whether it's just cuddling and holding hands you don't really want much kissing, where you want a lot of physicality, where you want nudity, don't want nudity, you know, like where you see yourself in the next 5 years. That's such an important question. When you come across someone you like, you know, ask them, you know, like what you doing in the next year, for example, your career. Where do you see yourself in 5 years time? If the person does not see you in their future in the next 5 years, don't bother with them. It's unless you want a short-term relationship, don't bother with this type of person. If they can't, you know, straight away stop picturing you in their future and you doing stuff together and being together as a couple, if they can't do that, they're not the right person for you. You know, if they're interested in you in a relationship and they can't even do that, forget it. You know, if they're just saying, oh, well, I can see you as my friend, then obviously you've got your answer. They can't think you're that important to be in a relationship with, which means they don't value your worth, which means you need to look somewhere else. No, I can't be in a relationship with someone who doesn't think, hey, I really want to be in a relationship with this person all the time because I enjoy it so much, you know? Because that's what it should be like. You should be like with your bestest ever friend. You know, one of my asexual friends posted on Facebook that she's fed up as an aromantic asexual, someone who lacks romantic attraction as well as sexual attraction. She's fed up with people asking her why she got married if she's aromantic. And she's like, I married my husband because he's my best friend, because I love him, you know, and I want him in my life forever, like by my side. And I just thought that was amazing. And that's what it should feel like. That's what true love should feel like. It should feel like this person, I want this person in my life forever. You know, I want them by my side to do stuff with, to go places with, to share my everyday with, to just be the bestest ever friend, you know. I just can't wait to that day, you know. It's really exciting because, you know, it's something I have always wanted, you know, a person who's my soulmate, bestest friend ever, to just share my life world secrets and go places with and chat till the early hours of the morning and totally be there for each other like bestest ever friends. It's just incredible. I think one day it will happen, but I just need to be patient, you know, because one person said in one of my old jobs, you have to kiss a lot of frogs in order to get your prince. In other words, you have to sift through a lot of people who aren't going to be right for you in order to get the right person for you. So I do think that's true whether you're sexual or asexual. So bear that in mind. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you have. I really appreciate it. If you've got any comments, questions, please leave them in the comments down below. I will try and answer them either in the comment or in another video. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. If you haven't already, hit that bell icon, please do, so you get notified of every time I go live and I'll post a new video. I want to give a big shout out to Martin. Thank you so much for coming on my live stream. I really missed you on this channel, so it's lovely to have you back, especially for Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month, because I know someone who's in this book. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, until next time, brace your quaggy and each other's. I will be back on another live stream tomorrow with Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month the next day. And I will see you soon. Thanks so much, Martin. Thanks everyone else for tuning in. Don't forget to share this video if you think it may benefit anyone. Take care, and I will see you soon. Bye. See you. Bye.